Today on Mini Takes Podcast, those stinking cyclists, 11th edition 40K is here, and Crisis in the Gulf. Mini Takes Podcast.
Look, if I open up your painting tutorial and the first step is getting out an airbrush, buddy, I'm not watching.
Bunch of nerds on the internet. Are you even having fun with this anymore?
Shane, if this happens, there's going to be wailing and gnashing of teeth, people burning their armies.
If you can't see it, don't paint it. Austin!
Hey, how's it going?
We can see you again.
Yeah, you can see me. I'm feeling a lot better. I've got my Three Stooges mug. I've got my decaf coffee. Would have been calf, but I ran out.
We have moved our record time yet further still from our release date. However, we've got a more energetic and awake Austin for the proceedings. So I think it is a net gain.
Yeah, you've got me at the end of my work week, so I am on that roller coaster to the weekend.
Everybody's working for it. As always, we like here at Mini Takes to have your takes, and so it's the first part of the show every week. By the way, be sure to like and subscribe, click the things that make the dings, and listen to us over on Spotify, over on Apple Podcast, over on Google Play, over on YouTube, where you can see our mugs. If you missed Sick Austin last week, you have him now. And in fact, Dave and Company, leaving this comment, these takes, over on our Spotify, says, Austin has to run to the bathroom. TMI. Hope you feel better, Austin.
Thank you.
I can't tell if GW is a nefarious, greedy corp that plans it all so well, or if they don't even know what they're doing. One article says this, the Q&A says something different, then the book will be yet different again, then they'll FAQ that rule several times. Geez. I am liking Battleshock being more important. I remember Space Marines having no fear and Plague Marines having fearless, otherwise you might fall off the board. I think that was 8th and 9th edition stuff where it felt like every flavor of Space Marines, good or bad, had a morale doesn't matter to us thing, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Over on YouTube, we had quite a few comments. However, with 11th edition release being imminent now, pre-orders are going live this weekend. So as you hear this, if you listen on release day Fridays, then you can pre-order your Armageddon box on Saturday, I think. Is how it's going to go.
Probably a line system going on online, making sure everyone gets one box. Don't quote me on that, but it might be a one-box system. They're trying to cut down on scalping.
Yeah. You know what? You'd have to be a nut to try to scalp the release box, right? Because the people that play the game are not going to be killing themselves to pay double. And the people that don't play the game are certainly not going to pay double when they find out that it's, I don't know if we're not breaking news by the time this comes out, $295. Like, if you think little Timmy is going to be begging for this thing and mom's going to get it when she finds that it's totally sold out everywhere, but you can get it on eBay for $800, like, buddy, if you've scalped 10 or 12 of these, you're about to just have a stack, I feel like.
Yeah, there might be the one person out there that you can kind of hook on it, but it'd be a tough sell.
Well, yeah, but if I'm the scalper, I'm out 300 times 5, $1,500, $2,000 on this scheme to get one sucker. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, I believe this was, see, I screen capture these. It's either Paradukes or Jason Trump. It's one or the other. They're freaking contributors. They were in the YouTube comments, and we love those guys, and we love to read their stuff. He had 3 big takes, and I wanted to read the second and the third one. He says, second hot take, 3D printing is its own dang hobby. Because I was critical of 3D printing as a whole recently, because I hate it, and I want it to go away, and I don't like it, and I think it's more trouble than it's worth. And he says, it's its own dang hobby. If you slap a spool on a machine, hit print, and walk away like it's a microwave, don't act shocked when the results look like a melted candle. Low effort in equals low effort out. Same rule as painting, same rule as golf, same rule as music, same rule as life. And man, he is so right.
He is totally correct.
He's 100% correct. And I've never said that 3D printing is not its own hobby, and I don't think he's saying that I did. However, I do fully realize that it is its own hobby, and that's why I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want to be fooling with learning how to get my 3D printer to get proper results. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it
Yeah,
enough.
there all the time people are saying, "Hey, just get a printer. You can print your Warhammer army. You can print this and that." It's like, well, at that point, it's going to turn into its own thing because I'm going to start fiddling with it. I'm going to be like, "Well, this print's not
And you
exactly
have to
right, so I
fiddle
need to
with it.
probably up. Yeah, I need to upgrade this and fiddle with that." And then what do you know? I'm out $1,000 more with parts and supplies and everything, and now I've become like a 3D printer, 3D
Right.
printer guy.
Yeah, now what you do is you spend all day on message boards trying to figure out the best situation for your deal. And here's the thing, and this is where I want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? I want to just throw the whole thing and burn it to the ground, the whole 3D printing industry, is that so many people do just hit print like it's a microwave in the name of savings, and they don't care that it looks like a melted candle. And it's not a small amount of people that are doing that. I would say, is the grand majority of people that are doing that. They're just like, look, I have a plastic thing that I made. So what?
Just filament lines
Man,
everywhere.
make them out of Play-Doh. I'd be happier. At least we could smash them when they get exploded in a deadly demise. Then he's got one more take, and here the Nashville Scorcher. The community treats GW like their Apple, expecting a flawless, premium, high-polished experience every single time. Meanwhile, GW is basically a mid-sized company held together with bubblegum, tinfoil, and sheer willpower of a few overworked designers who haven't slept since 8th edition. We're out here demanding iPhone-level perfection from a company that's basically running on a prayer and a pot of instant coffee. He's not wrong about that either, I don't think.
No, especially when Games Workshop tries to make itself out to be a luxury brand. It kind of falls flat on its face when you kind of have that expectation from the company that they're presenting themselves, and then you kind of have all the stuff like the Warhammer Plus, the uh, issues you've been talking about, the media they've been having showing off the rules for the game, and just the plethora of other issues Games Workshop has had.
So here's my
I see you think,
here's my take on that. You would not want Ferrari to design your minivan, would you? It's
probably
not.
not. No.
It's not what they do. What does Ferrari make? Race cars, sports cars. That's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
They're even if they wanted to, if they made an SUV like Lamborghini did, do you want it? Does that make sense? Wouldn't you rather
No.
go to Range Rover where that's what they do? The answer
Mm-hmm.
has to be yes, unless you're just a foolish person. And so GW, far and away the best model kits you can get. Warhammer 40,000, Old World, Age of Sigmar. Let's take them all and just hold them together. More factions, more supported factions for the game than anybody else can even begin to imagine. It's ridiculous. And we know, you and I know, the Leagues of Votan, the Tau, what's another one? Oh, all the Aldari and Drakari are just being held up by all the blueberries that get sold. All the orcs, all the, pick your Chaos Space Marine. Nobody else is able to do that stuff. But then they do go out and try to make themselves content creators. Those live streams of the games the other day were unwatchable.
Mm-hmm.
However, they did do a fine job on Warhammer Plus playing a game of 11th edition. I quite enjoyed that. But those are just a couple of your takes, and we want them here at Mini Takes. If you disagree with us, we will absolutely read your take and give our rebuttal because we have the podcast, and it's good to give a rebuttal. You ever go to church, Austin?
Oh yeah.
I go to church every so often, but every so often the guy up there, he'll say something, and I want to be like, I feel like I need the opportunity for rebuttal on this particular point.
Oh, you want to challenge them?
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes sometimes there are leaps being made that I might disagree with. I at least want to hear how whatever this thing is holds up to further questions and scrutiny. Let's get on to the main show. We got a couple of start the show takes because there's been a lot going on in the last week. We should probably be doing 2 shows a week right now, but we're not because we're lazy and busy. My AC went out this weekend. I had to crawl under the house. I had to pull wire. I had to spend $1,000, and I'm comfy now. AC still broke. It's irreparable. It's old. It's not going to happen. I'm not spending $10,000 in it. I am going to have to punch multiple fist-size holes in my wall, like all the way through.
Wow.
I'm not going to use my hand or anything.
You're going to use a like fish-shaped apparatus,
Yes,
like a
yes.
steel fist
That
stick.
Home Depot has a specialty section right next to the circle saws where you would, cut a hole for a pipe. They have a fish-shaped version. It's actually cheaper, and it comes with 1 domestic violence charge.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it'll be my 5th. Okay. 11th edition 40K rules have come out as of yesterday of recording, or today of recording, maybe. We're recording on Monday. They came out today. I have been through them. And
Ooh.
yes, we have the rules, except we don't have all the rules.
We have most of the rules.
We have most of the rules. Okay, so here's what we're missing. The table of contents of the rules that are downloadable PDF over on Warhammer Community reference the rules reference as page 89 of the rules. Okay, they're small, they're little. They come in a paper softback. They're nice. They stop at 88 and tell you that further rules reference will be available on the app, and there's a QR code.
Perfect.
Right. So I don't know if I brought it up on the podcast, but I've been bringing it up. I think last week I did bring it up. How we brought it up in the context of GW doesn't know, the left doesn't know what the right's doing. Okay. And my point about it was ballistic skill modification in the case of cover, which that part, that's what it is. Okay. Is if my unit's in cover, your unit has +1 ballistic skill. So your target number changes, right? And then if I have an ability that gives me -1 to hit, say, does that stack? Austin, currently in 10th edition, you know the answer, don't you? Yes, that stacks. Because where -1 to hit or +1 to hit can't stack, right? So -1 to hit plus -1 to hit does not equal -2 to hit. Doesn't happen. You only get the 1. Mm-hmm. A change in ballistic skill can then have the dice, like that's your dice target, then the hit modifier can be applied to the dice, okay? Effectively making a +2 -2. All right? None of that have I found is specified in the rules. And I looked all through the shooting phase, I looked all through the dice rolling, I looked all through what they have for universal special rules in the book as it stands right now. There is no clarification on modifier math. Like, can you have +2 toughness? Can you be toughness 0? Does your guy fall over dead if that should happen? We don't know. That must come later. That crap's annoying because I imagine there are other questions that we're going to kind of need at the ready for our first games of 11th edition. I cannot believe that was not in the book anywhere that I could find. And perhaps I missed it. It could be in a diagram or something, but here's my take on the diagrams. I love them for clarifying whatever it is that was said in the bullet pointed and in this new rulebook numbered sections. Okay, it is all very easy to reference. It references itself throughout so that you can navigate the thing. You can be in the middle of working out one thing, catch a piece of a rule, and it tells you exactly where to go to find that so that you can really work fast in figuring out what does what.
Mm-hmm.
And yet I cannot tell you if +1 to hit and -1 ballistic skill is going to stack or not. I can't tell you if benefit of cover can happen twice.
We'll figure it out later.
We'll figure it out later. Love you, GW. Now, you had a quick take before we get to our rundown as well. What was it?
Well, so I've been seeing it's kind of an ongoing thing. I'll see it every once in a while. Someone posting their newest Warhammer tattoo online, and they're so giddy and excited to be posting their Warhammer tattoo for the online community to see. And just about every single time, it is a collective reply of cringe, and it is this just overwhelming wave of cringe that results from this that I wanted to talk about
Well,
because
it's cringe because they keep getting like a space marine in action, or maybe a
that's
space marine
well,
taking a knee, or perhaps it's like smut. Maybe it's like too sexy sister of battle tattoo, right? That's what it is, isn't it?
no, what I'm getting at is that they get usually imperial iconography, such as the Aquila, or maybe a saying or something that doesn't quite look so right, or maybe even maybe even something that could be usually I think it's the Crux Terminatus looks awful lot like a lot of these things look like symbols that were used historically in
They look like swastikas
regime
and
yeah
SS stuff.
regimes
Yeah,
and
no,
hate symbols.
they look like Nazi affiliated things to the uninitiated. Where you and I know what that Aquila is at a glance.
Yeah,
That's because we're
we know what
like,
this is.
yeah, we're nerds that do a podcast on like nerd stuff. Uh,
Frank at the office
Frank at the
doesn't know
office,
what that is. He's saying, "Is my coworker
a
part of
white
a brotherhood?"
supremacist. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what's going on?
yeah. Look, and I feel like, gosh, there's gonna be such a flood of people being like, "I got an Aquila tattooed on me, and I don't in any way resemble a white supremacist." Okay, you showed me some pictures of some of these dudes, and I'm not saying they're Nazis, but somebody might say that they might be Nazis.
The lines blur, and it's unfortunate that they have to realize this until later.
I mean, tattoos, man. Don't get me started. I got takes. All right. Speaking of Nazis, we'll start our rundown. Um, this has become a bit of a pet take of mine, but I sent to you a picture from Warlord Games of one of their new kits, and the kit is some German soldiers from World War II. They're for bolt action, and they're on bicycles.
Ooh,
Ah, how cute, right? It's a 5-man unit. They're on
yeah.
bicycles. I mean, they're like straddling their bicycles. They're riding. One guy is pointing because here we go. All right. And I thought that they were adorable.
Making the door defense.
Yeah, I think they're neat, right? Just because, like, in our miniature war games, how much bicycle do you get? Not a lot, right? And then first thing you said, getting a lot of hate online. And I said, how? What are we doing? Now, what was the nature of this hate?
So I've been seeing some people grumbling online about it because I think it's marketed as an early war model, but one of the models had Panzerfausts on the back,
Which are
like
anti-tank
like
grenade
strapped.
launcher
No,
things.
which are an anti-tank uh, device that was used in the late war. So they would not have had that.
Yeah, and my 2 cents on that is, if you look at the pictures, that is clearly an optional bit that comes with the kit. So you can put them on there or not. In the first multiple pictures, they're not on the bikes, okay? Now, the idea. Okay, here's my take. My take is, and this has become a little pet take of mine, that there is a new hobby that has emerged. and is complaining about whatever it is that you have even the slightest interest or knowledge of on the internet. That's your job. It's what you're into. You don't actually do the mini hobby. You don't actually care about any of this. If you're the person that's out here and has time to get on Reddit and be like, oh, they say it's early war, except there's a picture files. I haven't even bothered to look at the pictures close enough to tell that it's not built on. It's a totally optional thing. And then be mad at the otherwise totally fine model kit. Totally reasonably priced model kit. Quite good model kit. New thing for a faction that has everything, okay, already, and has had for decades, if we're being honest, right? Haters, man. I see people so mad about at least pretending to be mad on the internet, about the 11th edition Army box because, oh, I can't believe it's just Space Marines again. What do you expect it to be? What do you think? What do you think this is? What do you think a starter box is supposed to be? It's ridiculous, Austin. And it frustrates me because this is supposed to be fun. And for those folks that are like, okay, well, what are you supposed to do about the historical inaccuracy of them having a Panzerfaust and them being an early war unit? Buddy, I could imagine that at some point in the entire however many years of the war, there were 5 guys that once rode around on their bicycles.
So here's a little thing. I actually listened to a YouTube short the other day from a World War II veteran talking about encountering a bicycle unit.
Yeah.
Late war.
Right, because they would just take these bikes out of somebody's yard, man. It's not like they're issued bikes, are they?
Yeah, they are.
Well, I mean, at that point, like later on, I'm just saying the idea that it's impossible. Oh, you can't possibly field on your bolt action German army. It's absurd that you might field mid or late war, which, that mid, when is it really? That you might have the audacity to say, I'm going to give these 5 guys bikes, and yeah, they'll have a Panzerfaust because I'm in the, we're past the 2 years that we wouldn't have had it. It's just silly. It's silly. Like, what's next? You're going to say, well, you can't have a light mortar and a heavy mortar team in your squad because why would you ever bring 2? Like, what are you talking about? Yeah,
Mid-war's
well, hold on. Ideally, if you really want to be that way about it, you should play your skirmish World War II game at like 8mm scale. Shouldn't you? Because there should be way more than 5 dudes in any given unit. Am I right?
Possible, yeah.
If you're that worried about it, maybe the game that you should play should just be the logistics line back behind. You'll need thousands of minis. They're going to need to be real specific depending on the day. Oh, we're bringing gas today, so I got my trucks with the gas, my guys with their whatever.
Got your gas tokens.
So obnoxious, man, these people. It's how you can tell they don't actually participate in this in any meaningful way. They just sit on the internet and complain. All right, enough of that one. Unless you have more takes on that.
I have 2 things.
Go ahead.
Number 1, a bit of clarification on mid-war. Mid-war is probably about like 1942 to 43. Pretty much the way I think of it is mid-war is, you can kind of think of it as when the United States gets involved. That's mid-war. Late war would be starting with like D-Day.
Yeah, when did they roll over Poland? 40?
39, I think.
Okay.
Earlier war would be more the Blitzkrieg and invasion of France and everything. That would be early war. Mid-war is wrapping up North Africa and going into Italy. Then late war is the final push.
Sure.
Second take is, did you notice that the bicycles are 3D printed?
Well, I know it called it 3D printed Warlord resin, I think.
Yeah.
Which is
that's interesting.
Well, listen, it's a different kind of thing than what you're doing at your house, folks. Also, I don't know if I've had 3D printed Warlord resin yet.
Because this is the first model.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, they looked great. They do look good. Um, all right. Next, 11th edition 40K is here. In opposition of my last take, I want to talk about. I'm really excited. There is no limit to the amount of content you can find right now. Maybe this will be sort of the. Maybe you could title the episode this on YouTube. Uh, 11th edition is here, and we're happy about it. How about that? We'll zig while everybody else zags. There's no shortage of people that are like, oh my gosh, the charge rules are totally weird. Oh my gosh, the fly rules are messed up. The terrain are giant, so it's going to be blah, 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 blah.
Literally unplayable.
But yes, literally unplayable. They love that. They love that. Um, that B word, um, what's her name? Discourse minis or whatever said, what was the title of her video? I cannot stand her.
I don't even know what it
11th
was.
edition confirmed as a scam or something like that. Like, shut the bleep up.
Yeah.
I cannot stand these folks, man. Anyhow, I'm excited. You know why I'm excited? You know what's got me excited? Because I quite liked 10th edition. And when they announced 11th, I thought, shoot, I could stand to sit in 10th edition for another year or two, right? That was my opinion. Now, granted, I play Chaos Space Marines. They've ran like they've ran like a Singer sewing machine for the entirety of 10th edition. From index on, there's been no weirdness. You can play all sorts of different lists, different types of different flavors, all of it. It's all been great. So naturally, I'm like, well, shoot, I don't necessarily need a new edition. I'd like to see more Crusade stuff. I'd like to, whatever. Like them to go crazy on another mission deck of asymmetric stuff, right? And then 11th edition started. The talk. And they said, ooh, we're going to have a detachment system. We're going to have set you up where you can sort of sprinkle and dinkle and whatnot. And I said, ooh, that could be fun. I would like a little leverage on my oddball selections, perhaps, right? And then they said, we're going to change all the terrain so it'll be less shooting gallery. And I said, ooh, that's good. Those Chaos Space Marine Legionnaires, they love to fight. And then they said they were going to make the missions where your army can do what it's designed to do instead of what it has to do. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, that was
You,
the money.
you had my attention. Now you have my interest. And then I watched them play. Now, I do not subscribe to Warhammer Plus because, back to what we talked about, how you don't want Ferrari to make a minivan. I don't necessarily want Games Workshop to make content. I don't think they're very good at it compared to other sources. However, they had, and they were the only place to get it, an 11th edition battle report. And man, it looked fun. Did you see it?
No, I haven't checked it out yet.
It was well edited. I think they got the whole game done in like 50 minutes. Nearly everything was dead. It was Orcs versus Blood Angels. And by the way, old buddy playing the Space Marines used. Oh shoot, I'm gonna mess it up. It's not Gladius Task Force that he used. It's the new version of Gladius Task Force that came out recently. That detachment that is just got all the stuff that you want to do, right? The Space Marines detachments toward the end of this edition have been, would you like just all the stuff? And guess what? At least revealed in those, that's 3 detachment points, baby.
Ooh.
That's right. So some of those Codex detachments that we're going to go ahead with, the ones that are really good, are going to cost you, which I think is cool. It remains to be seen if, just taking that is a better idea than any other combination you can make. However, there's a little bit no telling. I'm interested in the Night Lords ones because they've been so battle shocky and therefore so crap. But then the one out of the Codex might be 1 CP, and I can put, other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot, what if I can have 2 Codex detachments? If, in the event that that one particular straight out of the CSM Codex Battle Shock and Night Lord's detachment, which is quite crap if they decided to make it one detachment point. I imagine it'll be two, especially with Battle Shock, as we talked about last week, actually doing something.
Mm-hmm.
That part, well realized in the rules. Very clear. What's your take on 11th edition? Are you excited?
I don't know. I feel like if I was playing 40K more often, I would probably be a bit more excited about it.
You'd paint your
Here's
dang
the thing.
custodies.
Well, the thing I've got a lot going on right now in this space and
in,
environment
this
that I'm trying to
in
work
this
through.
one mortal life.
And we'll get there eventually. Things are clearing up around here, but I don't know. One problem I have right now is I've gotten into bolt action, and bolt action's the new shiny thing for me right now that I'm really interested in. So I feel like that's kind of deflated any of the excitement with 40K. But it is a fun time for 40K, seeing all the stuff coming out. I think I just need to go ahead and taste 11th edition already and try to get that flavor in the mouth. That way I can get some drive to want to play more.
Let me tell you, even though that particular match that I watched was Orcs versus Space Marines, okay, one of them had a kill everything mission, and the other had a stand on the points and kill everything mission. Okay, so they were very similar, and yet, I think it was the Orcs where it just had to kill everything. The Space Marines also could do an action over and over and over on like one of the center points and score more and more points. So it was neat. It's just neat. And uppy downy and those sorts of things are so um, kind of just part and parcel with how you play now that your secondaries are a little bit easier to do. It feels like some of those that you had kind of had to go far afield to do. Now that doesn't feel like such a bad thing because everybody's kind of got such uh, access to movement shenanigans. The way you take saves now, I think, is going to be nice because it reads very, very strange, but it plays exactly like you'd expect it to, which is good. It almost does. I tell you what it does is it forces. Have you seen this, by the way? The way you take saves now.
I had seen some kind of flow chart in the core rules.
Yeah. So what you do is you take. Let's say you fire a whole crap ton of shooters at me, okay? And I've got a sort of mixed save unit. All right. So let's say I've got Huron with his invuln, but then I've got his dudes with him, and they might have a 5 up, and then I've got some space marine, some dudes around that have a 3, right? So what I can do is you've got just a pile of dice that the wounds have gone through that I've got to take saves on. So I then pick who I put them into groups, save groups. And I tell you this at the beginning. I say, well, characters have to be last, unless you have precision, in which case you get to pick the save group order. Wrap your head around that for a second. So, basically, I get to pick, do I want this little bodyguard unit of folks to take these saves and then they'll die because they have 5s, or do I want these space marines? And of course you'd pick the space marines, and then you'd say, then I want these guys, then I want the character last, right? Then what you do is you take all of the 1s, 2s, and 3s that so now I roll my saves. I roll them. The 1s, 2s, and 3s all will go onto the space marines, and the 4s will be killing space marines. And then if I get past that, then it'll move to the 5s. But now all I've got left is 5s and 6s, you see. Maybe some 4s left in my pool. So now those guys may die. Basically, I can't put 6s on the guys that I intend to die. Does that make sense?
Okay.
You can't burn all your good stuff. However, you do end up burning your good stuff at the back end because invulns are so common, and therefore the last of them won't do anything because I've got a 4-up invuln, but all the 1s through 4s and 5s are eaten up. So the 6s don't do anything, the 5s don't do anything because I got 4s. You see?
Mm-hmm.
What it's going to do is it's going to cause a lot of characters to end up orphaned, but they'll be out by themselves. I'll have to look a little closer to see if they'll end up needing to take battle shock because I think that everything stays at its sort of everything stays at its starting strength even after the bodyguard's dead. You know what I'm saying? So that unit would
Yeah.
then be below starting strength, so your character out by himself will be subject to battle shock tests at every opportunity, which kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what that does is um, it legislates what we would always do as seasoned players when we knew we had mixed saves throughout a unit. You know all that, like, okay, what do I have? 12 saves, and then you'd stop for a second and be like, okay, I need to do these 2 at a time. And then you'd work your way through, and then you'd have these others, and that's basically what's happening. So it's good.
Mm-hmm. I think I don't know. I think my thing with it, at least kind of like the hype of 11th edition, is that there's only like a couple things that I was mainly interested in, such as the new match play rules, and then rules for my army, and then I think that was about it. So once those two things kind of came and went, and there wasn't anything else about it, it was kind of like, okay, well, I don't much care about Mechanicus rules. I don't much care about Eldar rules and all their detachments. So I was kind of just every day checking the Warcom and being like, okay, nothing to hype about.
Yeah, so I looked at them all because I know that whatever sort of gimmicks are in one will eventually be in all. Within some reason, like they're the 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 one detachment point detachments that leverage your army rule. Obviously, those are kind of like baked into the way that particular faction works. However, um, give all your I don't know transports uppy downy. I don't even think that's anything, but that kind of stuff. Give all your bikes assault or whatever it may be. That kind of stuff. I was always interested to see what they were revealing because kind of if one faction has something like that, then another will have something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it manifests itself in a similar unit type or not is another matter. You could end up with like, over in this demons faction, all the sort of medium sized monsters are going to get advanced in charge. It's like, okay, that's that might as well be a thing, right?
Yeah.
Um, and you've not seen all of your Custodes rules because I think they gave
Mm-hmm.
us a detachment, and I think in the 70 that are coming, they intend there to be like 3 for each. The idea being that you could actually make, you know, 3 singles be a list. Make, one big detachment like that. Which obviously,
Yeah.
what we're all going to be doing is taking a discount codex detachment and then applying our flavor is what I suspect. At least until they determine that one or more of those detachment schemes of the tiny ones, right, is actually totally busted, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I don't think we saw anything that was egregious in the reveals. But again,
No.
I'm excited. It feels fresh, and I think it's mainly got to do with the terrain and the missions. Because the fact that this is absolutely 10.5, I mean, look, I've been through the core rules, nothing major is changing. We're still going to be like sustained hits, lethal hits. Everybody's got an invuln. You're still going to have to roll Feel No Pains totally separately and basically do the old school saves Uh, that will still slow the whole thing down to a crawl. But changing hazardous to one and twos instead of just ones is not a new world, right? And I've said it many times. I don't think we wanted a new world.
No, it's never good when they kind of shake the game state up too much just to shake it up.
I was talking to a guy, and he's a very game theory sort of guy. He's playing Marvel Crisis Protocol as he always does, and you cannot beat this dude at that game. I don't care who you are. It's silly trying to play him. Because he'll be like, I didn't even take the good stuff. I don't believe you, Will. Um, but I posed to him. I said, I don't think we're ever going to see total ground up rebuilds of some of these like really big established games, such as Marvel Crisis Protocol. That thing now has got a model range of hundreds and hundreds of models, and they're about to rebalance the old units with the new units because there's been some power creep has happened, right? So they're sort of calling it. They're not even calling it a new version, but it is like a total from the ground rebalance. And he's like, so it might be like a new version. I said, look, man, you're never going to be playing this game, and it doesn't have like an energy mechanic and an ability mechanic. That's what I'm saying. And similar to 40K, we're never using 12-sided dice, and we're we're never going to a grid system, right?
Mhm.
We're always going to hit wound and save. In the same way that D&D, you're going to roll a d20 and add or subtract a number. That's what you're going to do from now on. Other games may come out and they may come up with a better way. They might build a better mousetrap, but I doubt it.
Mhm.
Last one. This one was yours. Crisis in the Gulf. What are you talking about?
So this is just not a thought that I've been having watching the news come out of the Gulf. We all know what's going on and everything.
I don't know. What are you
Uh,
talking about?
and I'm talking about the Strait of Hormuz, the blockades going on, the oil crisis. Tankers aren't getting out. Oil fields have been devastated. Oil infrastructure in the region. Uh, I'm just wondering if we won't see an impact on plastic production with this, with oil prices going up. I just wonder if there may not be uh, an impact on something like Games Workshop and their plastic production if that won't increase price. So they might not hide that behind the typical yearly inflation increase they do.
I have a couple of takes on this matter. One, I'm not sure there's actually a conflict in the Middle East because I don't believe anything the news ever says or anything on the internet. So that's one. It could all just be a total smoke and mirrors thing for purposes of market manipulation, insider trading, and money laundering. Got anything on that?
I'll just let it stand where it is.
It's a tough one to argue against. Just like, I don't believe anything you say. Okay. Uh, tough to debate that. Uh, Setting that aside, I mean, the oil's going down from its peak already, hasn't it? Like the
What do you
fat,
mean?
the price per barrel has gone down quite substantially since this thing initially kicked off, and I just don't know. I don't know what. I guess what I'm saying is I don't know how many stages of removal are required to make insulation in something like a commodity fluctuation.
Hmm.
Does that make sense? So, like, GW is not buying crude oil by the barrel to make
Yeah,
to make Warhammer models.
yeah, it's sequence.
It's
One person makes that, and yeah, just
yeah, yeah,
along the
yeah,
supply chain. I'm just
yeah.
wondering at what point do we get the domino effect coming here this way?
Last week I bought gas for $4.19 a gallon, which to some of our listeners is going to sound quite cheap, but it's the highest I've ever paid. Yesterday I bought gas for $3.29. And I'm like, nothing's changed that I've heard of. Still a blockade, still stuff getting blown up, still ships either going or not going, which that then becomes another thing. I got some pilot buddies who talk about how uh, they all say this, that spend any time flying around Florida, the Bahamas, making that run where they're coming in and can see the Gulf of Mexico, and they'll be like, man, when there is something going on, there's just full tankers chilling. They don't come in. They just sit to make the price go up. And I'm like, well, so that doesn't actually have to do with the Strait of Hormuz tankers. These are tankers that are already out, and that's oil that's available, but then they want to move the price. So again, I'm not sure I believe any of it. And then as far as GW, how much oil is even in the plastic that they use to make models?
I couldn't tell you.
I mean, who knows, right? Because surely it's not 100% oil, or you'd be able to stick it in your car. So there's other stuff. What percentage of this is oil? And is it the type of oil that makes gasoline? Because that then becomes a whole other thing, right? Do they make these things out of lamp oil? That stuff comes from like Pennsylvania. I don't know. With all of that said, with all of my tinfoil hat, hatred of the media, they are a publicly traded company, and they'll probably jack the price up and say that it's because of the war.
Well, we see the yearly increases. It's always like, okay, well, here's the yearly increase. Space Marines are now $70 a box.
Well,
Are they now 65?
I don't know. I mean, look, inflation is real. That is a thing. So
Yeah, I'm just saying they
yeah.
could use it as a cover.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no, what they'll do is they'll be like, okay, we got our inflation percentage. If it's actually 3, they'll call it, they'll say, well, we're going to raise it 2.5, but then we're going to tack on another 2 for conflict, commodity increase, which is like, is any of this real? That ultimately gets to be where my skepticism comes from. Is any of this real? All of these international powers are going to do whatever they want to do. But go ahead.
Another thing that this has made me think about is that Lego has moved on to plant-based materials to make plastics, and I wonder if there is a supply chain issue for tabletop miniatures, if they would move towards our alternative plastic sources. I don't know how well that would translate the plant plastics to the kind of plastic we want in miniature gaming pieces. Because I don't know exactly the composition, but it probably would have different characteristics to it.
Yeah, I don't know either, because think about like your biodiesel. It doesn't have any fossil fuel in it, right? But it burns and moves the piston. So I don't know. Like, can you just make any old polymer out of anything sufficiently stable and viscous? Is that what we're actually talking about? Like, the reason you use oil is because it doesn't mind to be squished and pressed and squeezed and heated and cooled within reason, right? And so it sticks other stuff together. Is it the same? That doesn't sound dissimilar to corn syrup, does it?
Well,
We are way. You know what else? We are way over our skis on this particular thing. we are 2 guys in a cave trying to invent injection molded plastic. Somebody get in the comments and tell us how the heck that works, so that maybe we can speak with less ignorance on this matter. However, I don't think the crisis in the Gulf is going to make the prices go up, but I do think the crisis in the Gulf is going to make the prices go up.
Yeah.
And on that quite literal bombshell, I wanted to remind you guys to leave your takes below because we want your
Many takes.